I would rather dig my eyeballs out with a rusty spoon than sit through more software development lifecycle, waterfall approach, technical documents. Like, just like, please don't. So, what I liked about your process and what got me hooked from a creative standpoint was I didn't forget about what I actually told you because it took so long to get the work product back to me.
All right, everybody. Yo, I'm joined by Blake. Blake, if you could give the people an intro on who you are, the company that you run as well, that would be amazing. We'll get kicked off from there.
Yeah, so my name is Blake Bourque. I'm the CEO of Regenaskin Solutions. That's a project and the company that we worked specifically with OpsKings on. We were able to do, I guess, from an accrual basis, about 22 million in sales yesterday, and it was a startup in 2024. So all of that revenue, based revenue, was done in 2025. We did that with 6 full-time employees, and probably 8 or so at our peak, contracted sales reps. And honestly, it was very much because of the systems that we had architected together with OpsKings in 2024 that kind of came to fruition at the end of 2024. Because we're healthcare related, we knew we had to have a HIPAA compliant application. A lot of my experience is in healthcare. The last 15 years, I've been in healthcare, and I've built software systems and laboratory information management systems, have managed 100 or so HL7 interface projects. I understand data integration and the importance of getting these things right. And so I have a very high acuity for what good technology and good project planning is supposed to actually look like. And what was great about, working with OpsKings is I got to be a student again because of how they actually worked the thought engine and the company brain and laying out everything in Visio to make sure that our entire team got our processes in paper before we programmed it to then make it perfect and get into production.
Okay, by the way, like, okay, so everything you said was amazing. I want to fast forward to right before you guys hired us. Because I think we got connected through like a client of ours who is
Jennings.
a partner of yours.
Yeah.
What was it about what he said that got you interested in even like having the conversation with us in the first place? Because you have a pretty high bullshit filter, I'm imagining. And then what was it about so first off, like, walk us back to like where you guys were at right before you hired us. What were you struggling with? What was it about what Jennings said that even got you to like, okay, I want to take this meeting? And then what was it like? What was that transition like?
So I was aware, I wasn't asleep to the problem, so you didn't have to like nurture me to wake me up. When Jennings said, "Hey, these guys named OpsKings, and they can maybe help with actually the software development and creating all the operations side," we were in the mode where like I knew we needed to have operations programming, and so I was actively looking for that, right? And so it was for me. It really was like right place, kind of like right time, and that recommendation came, because of that.
Yeah.
So when Jennings mentioned it, I and I don't say no. I'm a CEO, bro. If I say no to learning, I'm dying. I have to continue to look for vendors and companies that are going to help me to, hit my mission, right? And so, and your name was badass, OpsKings. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, all right. So they got something going for them. They got somebody who understands.
We'll be cocky about it at least. It's
you know what I mean? Like that. That was like, that's a cool name, bro.
Yeah.
Let's schedule a meeting. So that's yeah. It's I wish it was like, oh well, no.
Wow, gee, your sales process was amazing. I met this good-looking guy named Ryan, and it was everything. I was sold from there. So when you had done a lot of projects before, you'd done a lot of like operational software type stuff before. You probably had expectations going in of like it's probably gonna go like this, or like it's probably gonna be this fast, this slow, this good. They're probably gonna approach the problem like that. What was Did what we do like align up to your expectations? Was there stuff that you were surprised by? I know one thing to call out is you mentioned the company brain process. I'd say your process was like there was like a lot of there was more moving parts to it than I don't know if you like. Did you think we would understand it right away? Did you think we would like? Was there anything about the, like the let's say the company brain process initially that
Mm.
if you think back to it, like I know it was like what was it like a
I
year and
think
a
what
half
ended up
ago or 2 years
happening
ago or
is
something?
I think what ended up happening there is first off, it's like I would rather dig my eyeballs out with a rusty spoon than sit through more software development life cycle,
Mm,
waterfall approach, technical
mm,
documents. Like just like please
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
So what I liked about your process and what got me hooked from a creative standpoint was I didn't forget about what I actually told you because it took so long to get the work product back to me. And I think
Mm,
this is a key element. I don't know if I've ever even told you this, but when you're a guy like me and I hold a meeting with people and I'm like, okay, cool. Like here's the damn problem that we have. Our clients are coming in here and they have
mm,
an expectation of X, Y, and Z, and we're only delivering W. They don't even want W. And so now we've got to get them to be able to want X, Y, and Z. And so now go develop a software process and a landing page and a graphical user interface that is easy for them to use with one click or less, read their damn minds. And then it takes them 6 weeks to do that. And then they come back and they deliver to me in 6 weeks what I told them to do. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Who told you to do this?
mm.
Because so much time elapsed
So much
and
time
I've
elapsed, and
created
there was like so much of like a miss. So if you
life
get
happened.
iteration like the next
Yeah, dude. It's
day or
like,
whatever,
no, you told us to
yeah,
build this, Blake. We want to see it. It's like, man, I don't even know, bro. I'm trying to deliver STR, like
right,
but with you guys, it was like, I talked to you guys on a Monday and on Wednesday, we had a wireframe that I could click
right.
and I could see it. So from a gestation standpoint, the
Mm,
concept of an idea to delivery of the baby was sped up.
mm.
All right. And that's super important in an agile environment because people always think agile is just software program. Bullshit. Agile is sales and marketing, agile is business management. If you're not flexible in today's environment and able to be nimble and add on and add to, you're going to be obsolete before you even know it. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's why your process
Mm,
really appealed to me,
hmm.
is the speed of which I could create.
Yeah, what's crazy too is like, okay, so here's the other side of it is like we have to actually sell less because people come to us all the time. They're like, I want this amazing thing that solves like my entire business all at once. Tell me a fixed price for solving the one thing, so I'm done. And we're like, no, actually, let's just take this whole scope and go like, okay, we're gonna just do this
Yeah.
because I know that like in the meantime, like every single week that goes by, your business is also going to evolve, and like that's what should happen, right? So I'd
Uh-huh.
say it's you know what I think it's maybe you're not giving yourself enough credit for like the like because it's two sides. Like there's people that are like look at our approach and go, oh no, I don't want that. I want like a 2 month project and I'm done. And we're like, but let's just not do that. And they leave, and we're like, that's fine. I would rather do a good job for the right people than to
Yeah.
like do go back because like the waterfall approach. Like I came from a software development background. Right? Like it's very very common to do the massive design doc that takes 2 months to do this the design doc, and then you build it all at once, and it's like a 6 month thing. And by the end, you're just like everyone's just demotivated because you didn't. There
You
was
didn't
no
do
user. There
anything.
was no like user
The
engagement, right?
market moved. The market moved.
Here's what's interesting. Okay, so if people watch us converse right now, they might get the false impression that it's been you and I talking to each other for like a year and a half, coordinating this. But in reality, it's one thing I would want your feedback on, your like opinion on is the fact that actually it was one of your guys, Ryan Quillen, shout out other Ryan,
Yeah.
it's great name, and one of our business analysts, Steven, who've mainly been coordinating this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, so how is that? So for how is that process for you? Because like I know like a lot of people they think, oh, I'll sign up with this company, and if I don't get the owner, it's like a shit. experience.
No, yeah,
So
no, I actually, the process improved once we just went to working with Steven.
hey, what are you trying to say? Whoa, bro. Whoa. Let's not go too far. Whoa, 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 whoa.
So,
Whoa. No, no.
so
It's
here's the
like
deal. Here's the deal.
all right. Steven, we're cutting this
Anytime,
part out. Luca, cut this part out. Cut this part.
anytime you hand off meetings, you lose quality of the information, right? So realized that if I was in a meeting, like it was hard for me to, because first off, I love the efficiency of the meetings. And so my job, I realized really quick, is get the architecture set up,
Mm,
make sure that the frame is correct and that we stay on task and on project. So I stayed as long as that was drilled into Ryan's head and Steven accepted it. And then I would come in and just do QC checks after that. All right. So, but because Steven was a mainstay
mm,
and Ryan was a mainstay, right? And Ryan basically turned into a SME inside of the
mm,
process because he
mm.
was in charge of ops.
Yeah, like
So I
his
just,
whole focus.
I told him,
He
I was
got
like, bro,
better at
look,
then yeah.
you get to build the kitchen that's going to cook the
Yeah.
best pizzas in the world. I'm not going to build a kitchen and then come over. Like we found that in the laboratory business that these scientists never had any input on the workflows and the processes and procedures of the software they were using. And the computer scientists or the programmers that built it never worked in a lab.
Mm,
And so you'd have these really antiquated systems that made no sense. So I wasn't going to do that to this because I'm not doing ops.
mm.
I'm a selling CEO. I want to be in front of
Yeah.
people. I want to be next to
Yeah.
patients. I want
Yeah.
to be doing my thing.
Yeah.
So what was cool about this is it allowed me to really buy back my time,
Yeah.
like significantly buy back my time because anytime a CEO is in the weeds software meeting about the problem when he has an ops manager, that dude, one, has a control freak problem, and two, he is losing money. Right. And so I was very conscious to make sure once I trusted Steven, and Steven's as competent a human being as you're going to come across, very patient. And anytime I would give him something new, he'd be like, okay, cool, let's go back to the map. We go back to the map and he'd be like,
this is yeah. You know what's interesting as well? Okay, so I same thing for me, right? So I'm one of the co-founders of OpsKings. And one of the things that we found in like, okay, so I'm newer business than you are, right? But we started hiring people we started 3 years ago now and start hiring people. And very quickly you realize like, oh, like when I hire people, I get way better at like everybody gets a better experience because like Steven came to me with some of the stuff for Regenaskin. He's like, hey, like I was talking to Ryan and like they have this and here's like what I'm thinking. And so then the two of us would ping pong back together. But I have more time to then focus on this the kind of problems that like I am actually needed for versus the day-to-day noise, right? It's kind of like for you, like you focus on like the architecture,
yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah.
The high leverage stuff. The interesting. Okay, is there? So I gotta. We both have a hard stop in 10 minutes here. Is there? I mean, you did a really good job at the beginning of like sharing the results, right? The kind of the outcome. Honestly, you did. Yeah, you did such a. I mean, I'm like, I feel like you left me with no questions to ask. But is there anything else in the? Actually, what was it that made you realize to even do software in the first place? Because there's a lot of. I mean, you could very well approach this and say, oh, just rip this spreadsheet for a higher like another ops manager person or like,
Yeah.
you know, it's admittedly like a big risk to say I'm going to basically change the like trust the concept of how my business runs with a third party who hasn't distributed medical like your business is a very specific run like what you said. Like we don't have
patients.
20 other clients that do what you do, right?
So we're one-on-one. We're one-on-one, and then also our approach is also one-on-one. So, when I worked for a very large bank, national bank, biggest bank in the world, they created sticky products, and their sticky product was the number one was online banking.
Mhm.
If you think about this, like if you change banks, you have to change your debit cards, your your online banking profile, all the debits. You got to learn a new system. Like it's a pain in the butt, man. Like if right now, I've got, a credit card company that every single one of my bills is on that credit card. I rue the day that I have to
Yeah, you switch them
change,
over.
right? So I feel the same way about software and businesses where you're sales focused. So, a lot of people talk about software as a service. I approach it as sales as a service. And the software is also the product that we're selling, right? But the whole, we don't sell a product, we actually sell a service. And if I want to have a sticky product, which means that I've now um, lessened the pain to change, the pain to change has got to be less than the pain to stay the same. And so if I can create a streamlined process in software that makes it easier for the client to do business than they were before, and they're aware of, hey, here's the risk of paper, here's the risk of a disjointed process, here's a risk of not being able to have audit control, here's the efficiencies that you pick up, here's the redundancies that you pick up, here's the time that you're going to save, here's the safety and security, it's HIPAA compliant, right? The other processes that you're doing right now, you're faxing, you're emailing, you're texting these pictures, you're not uploading them in a compliant way, you're all over the place, you've got uncountable risk. Come in here. Now I've changed their fence. When I say move the fence in a business, like cows, human beings have habits, man. There's a
Yeah.
rut that they
Yep.
walk back and forth in, right? Cows do the same thing. They walk along a fence line constantly, right? And they wear a rut along that fence line. And when it rains, that rut's too deep. That habit will end up killing them, right? So in business, our job is to change the fence, move the fence. I got to put you on a different pattern, a different behavior. So inculcating a software strategy inside of your sales offering creates not only a sticky product, but it is a pattern interrupt. And now they're only doing business with you. If you want to protect yourself from other people hawking your clients, give them something that they can't get anywhere else. Be unique, right? You want to be like everybody else? Cool. Send a fucking email. You want to be like everybody else? Cool. Go ahead and do it through the paper process. Waste their time and your time. Have a lower closing rate. But if you want to go ahead and actually like dominate your category, build something unique they can't get anywhere else and they'll be stuck to you forever. Then you keep building and you keep innovating and you keep finding ways to be able to be ahead of them. And now with this AI kind of revolution that's coming in and being able to plug in co-work into things and figuring out how to build faster and smarter. Like you're either going to use AI or you're going to be obsolete and die. And you're going to find ways to get an advantage there, or you're just going to be blaming it for the reason why you lost your house and your lifestyle. And I refuse to be a victim of the technology age. We have to master it.
Love it. Okay. Couple of minutes we got left here. Leave the people anything else that I haven't asked you that you'd want to share about your experience working with OpsKings, either in terms of like our team specifically, our approach, like whatever. I mean, you let all the floor is yours. Profanity, inappropriate jokes, whatever,
Down with that. Yeah.
yeah.
I think the cool thing about OpsKings was just from a top down standpoint, everyone they were the two things I was looking for: competent and conscientious. Right? If I'm hiring somebody, that's my two qualities I want. Because if you're competent, right, and you're conscientious, you're going to solve the problems that need to be solved. You're going to find solutions. You're going to be a missionary about your actual role and your job. And you guys were missionaries for us. You guys helped us go to a place that we didn't know we can get to. And we reached, honestly, sales heights that we didn't think was capable in 12 months. I mean, we knocked the doors off of it. And I blame our software processes and what Ryan and Steven built and what you helped and what the team did for those results, right? Like we sing you guys praises. The other thing is I look for somebody who's conscientious, which means that they do what's required, right? They said they were going to do it and they did it. And I don't know if Steven ever missed a mark or didn't let us know that he was going to be late on a mark. And that's so important because like it keeps you engaged. There was never like 2 weeks that went by where you didn't hear from your developer, you didn't hear from your team. We had standing meetings. We stayed on pace. We stayed on task. And that's honestly why we stuck with you guys for so long inside of that retainer agreement, because we kept building stuff that was valuable and we kept getting an ROI out of it. There didn't need to be an end to the relationship there, right? You know, if we do take a pause, the reason why we're taking a pause is because we got to go find something else to sell.
You got to
Figure out the
sell enough
process.
to even like overload the system in the first place. Yeah.
No, you know, so we're
Yeah.
going to retool some stuff and we're going to come
Mhm.
back and then basically
Mhm.
we're going to do it all over again.